So in Matthew 19:23 and 24, Jesus says that it's hard for someone who's rich to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Then he uses an analogy that for us in the West, probably it's hard to understand. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And I was contemplating on that and what that means for us today. And if you think of most of our worries, most of the things that we stress about, it seems to be anchored in money. Whether it's health, whether it's work, whether it's paying bills, it seems to be anchored in money. So if you were, worth $200 billion, how much of that worry would you have? If I had an uncle or brother who was worth 200 billion and I was having issues at work, I could just tell my brother and he says, yeah, take $1 billion, quit the job. If I had healthcare issues, don't worry, we'll get you the best specialist healthcare you can get anywhere in the world. So then what then does money not help us with? And if money is the core of most of our areas of concern, then what is the point of coming to God if we have all the money and if those stresses and worries aren't with us? And that's what Jesus was saying here, that when you can take care of yourself, when you have no stresses, no worries, it is harder to then think and come to God, because you're like, what do I need God for? What do I need God for? If I don't have to worry about my job, I don't have to worry about family, what do I need God for? One of the things I understand about our walk with God and going through trials is that it sharpens us. In the book of 2 Samuel, King David, his biggest sin, his biggest fall, and it starts off by saying, in the time when kings go to war, David was at home, walking on the balcony on his roof, and he saw Bathsheba. Meaning that he should have been at war, should have been busy, but he was like idle, nothing to do. And that's when he had his biggest fall. Affected his kingdom, affected his family. And so our trials and tribulations sharpen us, keep us battle ready. And it isn't just that, God denies us money. It's never about money. It's about a relationship with God. It's about having a relationship with God regardless of money. And it's a lot easier when you depend on Him, when you seek Him, whether you have the money or not, whether you have good health or not, whether there's any drama or tribulations in your life. But if you can foster a relationship with Him, then you grow in Him. But as the Apostle Paul mentioned, is that the more revelations he was receiving, the more trials and tribulations came his way. That was to ground him, that was to keep him dependent wholly on God. And not to trust in our riches, not to trust in our abilities, not to trust in each other, but to trust solely and completely onto God. So, it isn't that rich people can't get into heaven. It isn't that if you have abundant wealth, you cannot operate within the kingdom of God. But he said it's easy, it's hard, because you can just rely on your wealth, your talent, and think I can do it on my own without relying on the living God. So, embrace your battles, embrace your trials, draw nearer to God. Nothing's impossible for the great I am. Nothing is impossible for the great I am. He can do all things, exceeding abundantly more than we can think, act, or imagine. He can do all of those things. But all He calls and cares for is for a relationship with us. And sometimes when those trials come, it pushes us closer to Him. It gets us battle ready. It doesn't make us idle like David was at that time when he saw Bathsheba. Praise God.